So you'll get what you can on there. And what about the rest of it then, if it comes on to rain? It's not
Well, we'll get everything that might be affected by rain on there.
Okay.
Maybe just leave the rope and the paint there.
Okay. And will you break it down on the boat then?
All right, yeah.
I don't think it's going to rain.
It's pretty high, isn't it?
Ardmore, up in the northwest corner of Scotland, where John Ridgway lives in a croft with his wife, Mary Christine. In the summer, they run an adventure training school. In the winter, they explore. They're about to start their 5th expedition since John rowed across the Atlantic with Che Blythe. It celebrates the 10th anniversary of their school. This time, they're going to race around the world, leaving behind their 9-year-old daughter Rebecca with Mary Christine's mother.
Go. How long? 1 minute, Charlie. What? 1 minute exactly, John. 1 minute. Fine.
1, 2.
Can we ease everything? Ease everything off, fellows. Get that main floor out. At the tack.
Portsmouth, the start and finish of the Whitbread round-the-world yacht race. John's boat, Debenhams, is 57 feet long, the 3rd smallest in a fleet of 15. Ocean racing is expensive. Some of the bigger boats cost £500,000. Debenhams, owned by John and Mary Christine, is not in that league. But for them, the start at Portsmouth is the culmination of 3 years' struggle and preparation.
I'll get the tickets back right now. Yeah, because we were jiving.
Crewing the boat are instructors from John's Adventure School in Ardmore, as well as a film cameraman and sound recordist.
Jake, get the Allen key. Take the thing off. Seen anything like this before? Ease the main a bit, please. Right, give the main some wind. Right, ease the main. Bring this in. Bring this one in a bit. Bring this one in a bit. That's all right. Bring the mizzen in. Yeah, pull her in a bit. To hell with the rest. Digging tree a row.
Most of John's crew of instructors are in their early 20s. None of them are married. None of them have lived together in such a confined space before. None of them have any experience of ocean racing. From Portsmouth, they will race over 6,500 miles to Cape Town, over 7,500 miles to Auckland, New Zealand, another 7,500 miles around the Horn to Rio, and 5,000 miles back to Portsmouth. Nearly 30,000 miles in all.
Is that right?
You can have mine.
Phew. Cheers.
Starting tomorrow morning, from 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock, we're going to do work. What we're aiming to do is to get the boat into first-class condition by the time we get to Cape Town, so that after there, when the weather is severe, we'll all have confidence in the boat and in ourselves. We're going to do maintenance work from 9 till 11:30, And then from 11:30 to 12, we'll practice a drill. It may seem rather Gestapo-like and making work for the sake of work's sake and so on. To some of the people who have not been on this sort of a thing before, or not been on this sort of a boat before. But it is necessary to keep the standard of the boat at a high level to prevent people feeling they're living on a dead ship.
As well as discussing things collectively, wouldn't prisoners think about also having little personal, private discussions with each other? This was mentioned by one of the other crews, I can't remember now, in Portsmouth, I can't remember who it was. They're saying that they're going to sort of raise points with each other, little points that...
It's called conversation, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I don't know, but
Except if someone could just say it spontaneously, then it would carry less hurt, I think, or whatever, than if, you know, it was...
I think it's more difficult than you think, Teddy.
Let it go.
Come on.
Is anyone working the halyard? Anyone on the halyard? He got his hormones mixed up.
How do you reckon it happened, Bob?
Hey?
How do you reckon it happened? What do you reckon caused it?
Excessive wind, collapsed spinnaker. When it filled again, boom,
That's
blew
the
out.
crack, yeah.
At 37, Bob Burns is the eldest member of the crew, and the main exception to John's rule of crewing the boat with instructors from his adventure school. Bob is next leading seaman and foreman on a North Sea oil rig. For the race, he's ship's bosun.
Well, there are hopeful pointers. Like I say, when I get here, you'll see that I've got the head all in one piece.
Yeah.
And the stays are all in one piece.
It could be a hell of a lot worse.
Only just, but...
How do you get with everyone on board, all the rest of the lads? Because they're a lot younger.
How do I get on with them?
And you're all living up to
Pretty
something.
well in the main. I'm a bit grumpy at times.
Oh, we know that.
But well, you know, a lot of these people on here never really work for their living. Live quite an easy life, and they don't perhaps know about the other side of life. No, I do, and if I see things going wrong, I usually like to say something about it. Whereas other people might just let it go. But, say, 4 years on the rigs, where I was in a pretty responsible position, and there'd have a lot of people under me. Kind of gets to be a habit of looking after them. If you see them doing something wrong, tell them about it. Some people like it, some people don't. Everybody ready then? Ready out there? Okay. Here we go. What do we do with this one? Okay, that's fine. Okay, keep back, please. There we go. Out you go. Right. It's off the fore. The pole will have to, no, pole further forward. Are we on course there, Skipper? Pole further forward? Wait a minute, we're saying, till we got a course. On course then. That's on by the road. No. Okay.
What do you find the most difficult things to avoid? What do you find the most difficult things to put up with?
Well, I suppose, actually, it's there's a bloody cameraman and sound people bursting in on my privacy while I'm kneading dough.
Right, tell us about your trip.
Some of our well-known professional seasick addicts would vouch for that, wouldn't they, Steve?
Sorry? Where are we?
Hey, you must excuse me.
These things are no good at all. Seriously. No, I haven't tried them actually, but John's tried them. He's quite high on them at the moment.
Buy this dough feels good. Do you want a squeeze? Well, I'll tell you one thing, actually, I may not be very good at making bread, but it keeps the old nails clean.
I thought it was brown bread.
How did you become a cook?
Well, shortly after we set sail from Ardmore,
cooking, Dick?
3.
3. That was the shoot last night?
Yankee guy, been a good guy last night and he cracked back.
Yeah. A mess, isn't it?
Bit of a mess, yeah.
What do you think it's going to be like in the Southern Ocean when it's like this now?
Be a whole sight worse, but by then we might have learned how to put it up.
That's Whitbread. Vibration. Comes a shot and a wire Whitbread, isn't it? Eh?
Quite a guitar sound.
Down when we were, we didn't know what it was. We thought that to start with, we thought the pole was nothing to do with the sail, you know, and it was away, and all we had to do was pull it in. Then by the ghost of the moon. What?
Anyone in for breakfast or how many? The one.
I'm here.
You're going to
He was here. Yeah.
I figured
The other lads have got an hour.
Huh?
Tony's going to stay on for an extra hour, so these fellas might appreciate having a bit of a kip. You got to drop
Well,
the
they'll still want breakfast. They ought to have breakfast.
Well, I didn't get called this morning by anybody, so I got up late, and now no one's told me what the hell's going on. Now breakfast's ready.
Oh.
Sorry, nothing to do with you, but
Yeah.
the bloody watchmaking decisions for me, not telling me.
Well, the idea was we were trying to get everybody.
Well, they've had
Everybody
cold
was
porridge,
gonna
that's
have a
all,
sleep.
mate. It's done now. It's ready.
Very tasty.
Getting pretty close, isn't it? Coming up.
Countdown!
Where's the bloody bottom, mate? We're down to 18 meters. We haven't got many meters left. Must be nearly there now.
A few yards.
Coming up now. You ready for the clock?
Yes, I'm ready.
Oh, be good at
I suppose that's fair.
The first shock about the next leg is I've taken on another crew member. Which might surprise you. None other than the Captain Woodfield, the great navigator of the ice, is flying out from London on the 22nd. He'll be sleeping in this position. There.
That position there.
Yeah, depending on.
Well, one or the other. He'll probably be along there. So he'll just be coming on this leg, and he'll probably have gives a bit of confidence in the ice as he spent most of his life down there. And if it doesn't work out, well, we'll just put up with it for 6 weeks.
His theories don't work, we
Yeah,
commit
but-
him to the icy deep.
I don't think he's any sort of fool, sure. And it just seemed the bolder course, seeing as he wrote in his letter that there was any chance of his coming very keen to come. So we took him up on it, and he's on his way. We're going to be off it in another 4 days.
Going to the South Pole.
Right.
Tom Woodfield, an elder brethren of Trinity House, spent 20 years as captain of a survey ship in the Southern Ocean.
43.
In order to compete on handicap with the faster boats, John decided to plot a course down to the Antarctic. This should cut 1,000 miles off the Cape Town to Auckland leg, but take them much closer to the ice.
Yes, is out of sight, up there. How does that look to you then? I think you're going to have to correct your figures.
I think you're going to have to correct your line. I'm on the washing up again. Just I done it in front of the TV camera. Get your head out of the way. Yeah. Bloody water's getting cold. Steady on, old chap.
Disc Door asked our position, and then King's Legend gave it, and then, of course, they had a big conversation about it, which they never used to before. They said, I suppose he thinks he's going to sneak right down the bottom, we're going to run out of wind, and he's going to come up the outside and beat us all. And he said, all I can say is good luck, Jim. It's bloody cold where we are. I can't imagine what it's like down there.
Well, we'll probably have to follow it round.
Otherwise, JC won't give us
Peter,
How are you doing,
seeing as it may well happen with you, I think it's well you hear what we're saying. If we get a sudden change of wind now, I think all we can do is just follow it round and not try and hold the course, you know?
Yeah.
If we get a sudden bite, just go, it'll suit us to go north anyway. A bit. Otherwise, we might find ourselves everything gone back and back to front, couldn't we? If it gets very bad, we'd just go with the staysail and, in the end, nothing else. It might happen all of a sudden and very forcibly.
Either that, or we'll get a strange lull, a calm, if we're really near the centre.
You know the
We'll see it on the barometer and it'll probably clear overhead, and then it'll bang in from the new direction. It usually does one or the other, depending how near the centre you are.
I said to your dad, I'd look after you, I'll make a man of you, McCann. Where are you?
Henry sold me a bad deal here. Why?
The late and unlamented Miss Francis. 46.55 south. She's lovely, isn't she? Mind going away and not dripping.
46.55.
No, 50. No, hang on. 46.55.
Yeah, I've got that.
And 57.06.
I would say there's very little difference in it now.
Between us and them.
We did a great circle from each one of those, yes. She's come south and she's ahead.
Really, she should be something like, on a 35-day run, she should be 2 days out.
Yes, third of the way.
It's jolly good if you can hold them for quite a long way, isn't it? The further you can hold them boat for boat.
Our first Southern Ocean real blow, eh?
What was it blowing in the end?
Oh, 60 knots at times. Mainly around 45, 50 and gusting over 60.
Yeah.
And very cold with it.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
It's down here and it gets cold. Then you get the wind with the cold, you get the old chill factor.
Yeah.
Which makes it a hell of a lot colder than it really is. And as you would know, if you were here, we had ice all over the place.
Yeah.
To do any work, it's pretty dodgy. You're going to take your gloves off to do it, and your finger seized up.
Yeah. Pretty awful. Especially when you're trying to look for the icebergs as well, isn't it?
Yes, that was the nice bit. Bad enough with the fourth 10 or 11. Without trying to peer over the bows, trying to see if there's an iceberg sitting in front of me.
How do you think we're getting on, Bob, in the race?
Well, in their last positions very well. It seems that only Condor is well ahead of us, which you'd really expect for a boat their size. And GB2 and King's Legend are well up. But apart from that, we'd appear to be well ahead of the rest. Because we're so far south and going due east now, it works out that the mileage we have to do down here is less than the mileage that people further north have to do. So we're hoping to increase our lead. Hang on, folks, can do a change of course. Puts the wind further on the stern, which isn't good.
Well, that's what we need if we can try it.
Does that mean we go north, does it?
No, that's just the alteration for the variation.
All right.
It's changing so quickly now, it's up to 57.
navigator says we're getting aid from the drift, kind of current comes along the bottom here. That's given us 20 or 30 miles a day, so maybe we're doing about 240, maybe even 250 miles a day, which is well worth a bit of cold and discomfort, I'd say.
How do you find Tom?
Tom, smashing fella. He's the old seaman, isn't he?
Yeah.
Good chap, spent lots of time at sea, quiet, calm, knows what he's up to. And I'm really glad we got him on board.
God, it's a hell of a sight, isn't it, eh?
It's a hell of a sight there. It looks almost as though bits could easily break off.
What, this end?
Yeah, different too close to each other.
Hey, Steve,
Look at the
just
spray
keep a watch
rain
out
on
that way, won't you? In case there's something else to windward.
Don't
might be a
forget
big
he's
shelf.
moving in that direction.
Yeah.
There might be a big shelf sticking out from underneath it, so be careful. You can see breaking on it. Jesus.
You're cutting it a little too fine.
Okay,
I'd
cut
say.
it.
Yeah. Remember the bits drop off,
Yeah.
you get a tidal wave to come with it.
Yeah, it's coming back on us now, some of it.
Turn up to the left a bit.
Ah,
That distance you've got there now is what you want to maintain all the way on.
okay. Yes, we've seen about 6 since midnight, and from what we work out with our man on here, the line of drift between here and GB2's position could have quite a lot of icebergs. That's what we're working on.
Steady there, John. Straight through. Slightly up to port. There you go. Not in.
Good God.
What, she filming?
Yeah.
A lot of big stuff here, look. Here we are on the icebreaker at Debenhams. Here we go. This year's Arctic expeditions.
Big Bob, wasn't it?
Hey, plenty of them. Got ourselves into a field here.
Made him expect this, eh, Bob?
That would be headed eastwards down to with the rest of the fleet. Pardon? Yeah. Never been so well.
Okay, now off again, John. Just a rudder, that's all I want, man.
Ooh, that one over there.
Oh, we're nearly through the gap lights. What do you think of this then, Steve?
Stunning.
Stunning.
Better up here than down there with them bumps.
Bit unexpected, eh?
Well, I'm quite glad to see the ice, but I don't know that I like seeing quite so much of it.
Yeah, it's really eerie, all that ice bumping along the house.
Yeah.
Never going to drink cold lager again. Not to Auckland anyway. Silly games. Right from a hot place like Cape Town where you're gasping.
Yeah.
Right down here where you're not gasping. Back out to Auckland. He flew this big, fairly big one on the bow as well.
Yeah.
I'm just going on one way now, but I'm missing these lumps as I go. I'm going to go just to the left of this iceberg. One now, I'm on.
Just to the left.
What? Bloody hell, I mean, get this bloke out from London, he takes you right down into a pretty great bay of pack ice.
You know, some woman down here.
Go sniff around.
We sailed through bergs all day in fairly light winds under grey skies. Towards nightfall, the barometer began a spectacular fall, dropping 18 millibars in 6 hours. The wind rose to gale force and beyond. Tom stood ice-watch during the critical 4-hour period of darkness. He was clearly worried by the frequency of ice.
What, they wouldn't have come for us, Tom? They wouldn't have come for us.
Well, they wouldn't have anything to come with until their ships get down here.
So it would just have been a question of sitting on top of the iceberg and waiting.
Trying to get through on the radio. We had spoken to Treaty at lunchtime, almost certainly.
But would the iceberg have... that would be a fairly steady thing to sit on. I mean, it wouldn't be likely to break up.
It'd be a bit chilly, though, wouldn't it?
You'd dig a hole. Like a sort of an igloo, would you?
Yes, I would think so.
And try and fish the penguins or whatever.
Yeah.
What's the time?
I think it's about...
3 in the morning.
Having an afternoon picnic at 3 in the morning, yeah.
Have a big breakfast.
Fried eggs.
Oh, steak, eggs, mushroom.
Oh, that was just grand, that whole thing.
You do make me laugh.
That was the best part of the whole trip. There won't be anything else on the trip will be as good as that.
You could hear the bits hitting the bow and then hitting right...
Hit the keel.
Well, just at the bow.
Just behind her.
Forward,
Yeah.
anyway, and then you could hear it hitting right beside our ears.
It's sort of go boom.
There's always a double bang.
In fact, you could go within an inch of it. As long as you didn't actually hit it right on the bow.
You think?
The only thing that defeats that argument is the swell, you see. If it was perfectly calm, you could do that all the time without damage. But as soon as you get swell, it's banging you about, isn't it?
I was going to sleep. I was thinking, here we are in the Southern Ocean, just off the Antarctic ice sheet, doing 10 knots under spinnaker with 2 blokes who I've never seen without glasses on.
And they've never seen without glasses on.
Peter and Oren. Peter and Oren. I don't know. Gold.
I want sausage, eggs, beans, tomatoes, mushrooms. I agree.
Morning, Tom. It's bright and breezy.
Did you get up last night, Tom? Yes. No problem. No problem. Just gone up and had a look. Oh, she was thinking it rather heavily.
Morning, old top.
All right.
Bumpy night, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who was on at the very bumpiest?
I can't tell that, sir. It was me.
Was it not? It was bumpy,
We had,
wasn't it?
no, we had 2 broaches, one after the other. Bob and I were both on the wheel, hard over, couldn't hold it.
It really went over, didn't it?
Yeah. We had just
I've done that with these 2 vessels before.
Yeah.
And you can broach. Once you get beyond a certain point, there's no way you can come back.
The other one fills up, you know, and
Just have little slots.
that's right. And the middle's the lousy out. That's true. I'm sorry. Sorry, everybody.
Would you like eggs, or would you like Mars bar, eggs and Twix mashed?
Joke a minute.
Yeah.
10 eggs. Did a lot of dirty deeds behind that locker last night. Cheers. 10. There are, JC. 9 white and 1 brown.
9 white ones, 1 brown, 1 and 1.
Present for Dickie when he goes outside. Well, Dick, you get the sun out.
You got it out the other day.
It's gone.
He's a boy.
Yeah?
Another 10 eggs.
Yes, 10 eggs.
We have another 10 eggs.
Can we have another 10 eggs, please?
Good breakfast, JC.
suffered a severe headache today and was sick several times, so he was put to bed in our cabin.
Don't worry. Colin, can hear you. Can hear. A lot of ice here. All right. So just alert people down below. There's a lot of ice floating in the sea here. Big pieces. Right ahead, Bob. Ready, righto.
We have certainly made a surprising move north, 240 miles. It cuts away a great chunk of our great circle advantage over the others. All that risk was for no advantage in the end. Everyone is a bit edgy about it.
If it is me, I'm sorry.
It isn't, I'm not talking about leaving it on, I'm talking about the thing being wrenched off the dial this morning. I mean, if it's left, next thing you know it won't work. And if it's not turning out the power that you need, it's because the battery's flat, because someone's left it on. It may not be you, but there are only 2 or 3 people using it, not me. Only probably you and Tony and Bob, if Bob uses it at all.
I never touched it.
So, there are only 2 people who use it.
Not long after moving north, away from the ice, they were becalmed in the Tasman Sea, at the back of the fleet. John became very depressed. Almost overnight, the atmosphere on board had taken a significant turn for the worse. Mary Christine wrote in her diary, Tom said that John should snap out of his gloom, as it's getting everyone down.
Starts, I suppose, with basics, and that's on the boat. With regard to attitude, say, of John towards what we're doing on the race, he's very morose sometimes, moody, he goes up and down like a yo-yo. One minute we're supposed to be racing the boat, the next minute we're not supposed to be racing the boat because we might damage it or break gear. There's no consistency.
You get into the state of everybody else where you're not going to push people because you don't want to. They get upset and people start racing. Like yesterday, for instance, when we would be calm for a whole day and the wind gets up and nothing happens and people are sitting talking and things like that. It's a Scrabble. Big Scrabble, it's a bit ridiculous.
I suppose it's the same on any boat, isn't it? You'd run it your own way if you were skipper, and
yeah. I didn't know
he runs it his own way. And
I thought we had a committee, didn't we? Had a skill.
I think we've ended up the same way as we did in the last leg, and we'll probably carry on doing it for the next 2 legs.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone expects more, hoping for just too much.
Yeah.
The people get me down. It's not their fault. It's just that you've got to have a lot of people on a boat to run a race like this. And you've got to put up with it. But at times like that, it's worse and worse because you're confined below as well. You can't get out and sit on the upper deck, except when you're on watch. I shouldn't like to do that for a very long period. Not on a boat with a lot of people on, anyway.
You were so pissed off the other day. You were talking about you might even get off and look for a job. You still thinking that way?
It's... I don't know if this is the place to talk about it. It wouldn't take a lot to make me get off, that's for sure. Yeah, I really am a lot different to most of the people on here. And I do believe in majority rule, so that if one person like me is upsetting everyone else, it's better that I go rather than upset them. And it wouldn't take a lot for me to get off right now. Really, I think racing's all a bit silly. Yeah. I'm up for the good times. I can't see what's the point. Shoving your way along just to beat somebody else. Seems all a bit silly going around the world and only seeing virtual places.
John became concerned about interviews being recorded behind his back. He held a meeting to discuss this while the film crew were on watch.
We soon got on to the closed-door interviewing which Noel and Roger have been practicing. Particularly unwelcome was the idea that the interviews should be conducted without my knowing that they were going on. I'd be reasonably happy, well, quite happy really, for it to happen, so long as I know that it's happening. But doing it behind my back, that I didn't feel I was prepared to accept.
Most of the crew interpreted this to mean no filming without John's permission. all filming stopped.
And John said specifically that under no circumstances were you to ever go on deck or anywhere else on the boat and interview any of us unless he was there. I thought then, well, much as one doesn't want to talk behind people's backs, it's not in that sense, but it's very difficult to talk freely. If you've got your skipper looming over you, how can you express what you're really feeling?
As soon as I came down, I knew there was something going on. I wasn't in a particularly good mood myself. We sort of sat there for a while, and he said, how did we feel about the film and everything? We said we enjoyed it. And then he came out with this thing saying that he had an informer on board saying that things were being said behind his back that shouldn't be said. Got a little bit heated then about this. He said he was the producer. I think Steve started then saying how he couldn't understand what John was worried about. And if all the film was about was what was really happening on the boat, there's nothing wrong with these interviews. If we tell exactly what is happening as we see it, he said that's not the point.
The situation is that we're here in Auckland now, and it's been decided that I should leave the yacht because I cannot get on with John Ridgway, which I would like to dispose of in a few words. You know, it's his boat, and he's paid a lot of money and done a lot of organising. If I can't get on with him, it's only fair that I leave because I don't regard him as the greatest seaman who ever sails, and the atmosphere that he engenders on the yacht is just not the sort of atmosphere I want to spend my life in. I like happy people having a good time with booze involved to an extent, and people cheerful and carefree, and he doesn't want this sort of attitude at all, so I'm going to leave.
Before the race started, you felt that the main thing that you had going for you on this boat, as opposed to many other boats, was the way you had picked the crew.
Yes, I just find things never work out like you think, and it's a great disappointment. I hope we'll come back together again and go on with the voyage. I think really that everybody, if they were removed from it, would see what we're involved with now is just a storm in a teacup, really, through being stuck together in this small space for so long. It has always been my feeling that you must keep communicating. Once you have a period of silence, as we had with Bob, if the silence goes on after a few days, there's going to be an explosion. So we had the explosion. He put me in a position where he said, unless there are changes, I shall have to leave. Very little else I could really do. Except say there weren't going to be a lot of changes, and therefore it would better be left.
The start of it was when we had to go north. We were so far south and hit the ice, and we had to go north, and John was very depressed about that. Another thing was when we hit the calm before we got to Auckland, and sitting around and there was no progress. That was very galling for everybody. I think Bob got very tired. I think we all got on each other's nerves.
What I was surprised to find in the latter stages was the pressures of interviews going on without my knowledge. You know, I find that divisive, really, where you can't help but wonder what are they saying, and what are they stirring it up?
How much?
Maybe I shouldn't worry about that. I didn't begin to worry about it until, I suppose, the last week of the second leg. That's after, what, 70 days out of 80.
And Christine, did John talk to you about the strain of the television when you were on the boat?
Oh, yes. We discussed it. Well, all one night we talked about it. It was very much in our minds.
Did you ever talk about that with the television?
No.
Why?
Well, communications really had broken down.
What are you doing, Dick?
Just a short note to John about the boat. Getting a few things straight. Because at the moment, it's all going wrong. Very wrong indeed. And as far as I'm concerned, it's going to leave the boat. Unless he changes. When the trip first started out, just really what I'm saying, so when I first started out on the trip, he was well, I sort of quite respected him. I thought, well, he's done so many things. Well, probably sort of, he'll probably see us right. But he's just, this isn't the guy I left Ardmore with. He's really, the biggest thing is his depression. He couldn't back the crew up now if he tried. Feeling on board at the moment, it's just too bad. That's what I'm telling him. And I blame him for it. I blame the whole lot on him just about now.
I got a certain admiration for John Ridgway, the skipper. He's got a terrific compulsion and urge to get into things that are difficult. But on the other hand, he does get somewhat depressed when he is in amongst it. He seems to be able to start things, but carrying them through is another matter. And he's carried certain things through very, very well. But I think in the confines of a small craft, it's probably not his best field.
As you can. This poor bugger that's anchor, look. Yeah. What a place to anchor. I didn't see that boat at all. What a funny place to anchor. Oh, they were lucky we just didn't go straight through them. What should we do to B&B? Haven't got much wind from either now. Okay, well here we are off the east coast of New Zealand, just starting the third leg, and there have been some changes in Auckland. Everybody, I think, has made tremendous efforts in the past 3 weeks to try and hold the crew together, and unfortunately we failed. Bob Burns has finally left us after coming and going, but we're actually at sea now and he isn't with us. Also, Orr and Bose had to go back to the boatyard in the north of Scotland for business reasons. I have noticed, I think already, a different sort of atmosphere on the boat. Up ahead we have Cape Horn, which is perhaps the major single hazard of the voyage, and I hope that we're going to have a different feel to the rest of the voyage.
Fear not, said he, for my feet red has filled in troubled boys. And praise of his will I bring to you and all mankind. Ye faith, joyful and triumphant.
This is your champagne, Nick, huh?
Yeah.
Now come and let me say Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year.
Hello, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Oh, and many more of them.
We're going to have to who'd eat that?
I'll eat that.
JC's pretty
Just an ordinary night aboard a boat. Blimey,
bring cake for supper again. Every night at sea it's the same. Cheesecake and bloody champagne.
For the sake of old lang syne, we'll drink a cup of kindness, yeah, for the sake of old lang syne.
So if I give you half a bar of Twix,
I'll
you'll knock it down to 4 Mars bars.
The Twix has got to be now, though.
Yeah?
It's got to be that bit in your hand there, that one.
He said half a bar of Twix.
That's half a bar, and that's half a bar.
Come on. That's half a bar of Twix.
Deal's off. A bar of Twix is one little packet. Regrettably, the deal is off. I'm not going to give you that.
That's,
I'll keep my Mars bars. I know where to go with them.
I'll tell you where to go with
Other
them.
sources of galaxy.
poor Johnny.
There are
Yes,
not
it was
going to be many.
almost within your grasp. Here's another one. That's
I didn't want to.
Hello.
Who wants to negotiate?
Didn't know whether you wanted to put any time into that. My starving husband.
8 Twix for a Mars bar.
Quite happy with my flex.
Galaxy?
You know what I think?
What about a galaxy?
That John could do with a little bit of self-discipline.
How many you want? 5 Mars bars for a galaxy?
Yeah. You'll get it for 4 if you give me that. Okay, I'll make it 3.
You'll regret that.
There you go.
Okay, Steph? No.
So this one's floating.
17 days out of Auckland, in light winds, Mary, Christine and Tony set off in a rubber dinghy to take photographs for the book.
And if you... Goodbye.
Oh, look at that fin behind.
Goodbye.
Sort of ones I like.
The dinghy's right over there. Okay. Going about now. Once he's in, we can take up again and we'll go on our way. Too far away.
What was that like, MC?
No, not at all.
Not too bad.
No, it's very good. Very good. Waiting for the whale we were.
Okay,
Never
let it
came
go.
up. It's great. Very pleasant little
Give him a hand
interlude.
there, could you, Chris, just to whistle her in?
Very
Well, it
Robert.
seems silly doing it now, but that's... A lot of these fellows will never have a shot like that in their lifetime again. Being of nice bird. When the pics come out, oh, let's have some of yours, let's have some of yours. At the time, they don't want to take them. We've now been living together, most of us, for 150 days in this boat, so we know each other a little bit better than when we started. I think everybody will agree with that. We've also been on the race for a very long time. We have the most inexperienced crew, and we're probably the only boat with no backup at all at the various ports where we go. I've got a slight problem in that at the present time I'm £23,000 in debt, which may be a sum which is just purely nominal to you, but it is a burden to be.
In the right place, the right part of the world to be getting on.
But it's a figure that you're rather lumbered with. So, be any more sails, that's really what I'm trying to say. I hope we don't run out of sails. If you thought, well, I got a grand time for 150 days, we'll all put in 100 quid and get another one, fair enough. But I certainly never expected you to do that. I don't think it's going to happen. 8 miles away.
Is that one rock?
Just seas.
Binoculars, please. Well, we think we're near the Horn. Certainly hope so. Staff could see some other land. I don't know, Alan's just checking. I don't know exactly how far we're off at the moment.
Yeah,
it's pretty close. Pretty close.
Looks pretty close when you get out there.
2-3 miles?
I'd say. I mean, those hills are marked as being pretty high.
Yeah, a bit close that time. Not for the good hands of you, I might not be sitting here.
A week after rounding the Horn, they encountered heavy seas and the steering broke.
Why isn't this together?
The crew saw this as the first emergency of the leg and expected John to leap up and take charge of the situation. John was less worried by the rough sea. His main concern was the boat, which he felt had been broken because his over-enthusiastic crew had pushed it too hard.
Still haven't got a lot to shave, have you?
That's the worry. He doesn't let you go. What do you mean? It's my third shave in a week. I had one yesterday as well. But I didn't get a lot off, I'm afraid.
You looking forward to Rio then, Vicky?
I'm going home. I'm going home.
You're going home?
Yeah. Why only parted company with the boat?
Why are you going home?
Because I'm disloyal and disrespectful to him. What it really means is him and I don't get on very well anymore. And,
Can you tell us what happened?
oh, I was just down below this morning. He asked me to come and have a chat. Well, come have a chat with him. And he said that I know what loyalty was. You know, this sort of thing. I should have learned it at school. And I told him to stop beating about the bush because I knew it was going to come. And he said, I was very, very upset by what you said yesterday about not wanting to race anymore. I didn't actually say that. I said, you seem to not want to race anymore. And he said, well, it doesn't matter. I was very shocked and upset that you could say anything like that to the skipper of a boat. I didn't really say anything at the time. I just kept listening. I said, what else do you want to say? He says, well, unless you write me a 1,000-word essay on loyalty and respect, you can leave the boat. You've got to do it in 24 hours from now. So I said, is that like being at school having lines? And he said, if you like. So I suggested where you might like to place the lines. And I would leave the boat when we got to Rio. As far as John and I can say, I'm back on the boat. Neither of us have any respect for each other at all anymore. It's just me crewing the boat back to him, and I'm just a normal crew member to him.
The only thing that annoys me about John more than I think any other skipper would annoy me, because I expect a skipper to annoy me because I don't like people telling me what to do, is that he sits in there and writes a book all day about things that he doesn't do.
You sit here talking about this now, and you won't talk about it when John comes on board. You never get up and argue with him or anything.
That's probably a question of temperament rather than viewpoint.
But it's the same as like, you're making a film here, so we feel different when you put the camera on us, and when you talk to John, you feel different too, because he's writing a book, and you'll get in the book if you talk.
The thing I question is waiting till John has gone off. He was on here now, and there was a perfect opportunity to say anything you like, but nobody spoke up.
And everything at the moment gets aimed at the skipper instead of at other members of the crew.
Well, if you want to talk about the relationship with the rest of the crew, that's fine. Let's talk about that then.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
so, okay.
Skipper's also part of the crew, so sometimes he comes out, but he's the key figure, so perhaps he's featured more, because in our minds, that's the key figure, but I think, yeah, amongst ourselves as well.
Okay, well, I think something that's come up with me on this last leg in particular, which makes me very cautious about airing my views forever, as it is when you're in a filming situation. You know, certain individuals on the boat during the last leg, which I felt very negatively about. It's a normal. Okay, I'm referring to Tony. That's the first time he knows. I had absolutely negative vibes with Tony. He had nothing to give to me, not so much as a good morning, and in response, I had nothing to give to him. I had no good morning for Tony, and that was just the way it was. But right now, I don't, you know.
He still doesn't say good morning.
Maybe not, but there's nothing negative there.
I don't think there are going to be any long-lasting friendships coming out of this race. Perhaps one or two people will correspond. But the fact that we're on the same boat for 40 days means that we're going to tolerate each other, and the only way we're going to get round is to tolerate each other. Otherwise, it's going to be this great seething argument all the time.
I'll just start with that TV interview that I stumbled upon in Rio. I've written all this down because quite a lot of it may need to be referred to later. Coming down to the boat there, then it seemed that certain people were gibbering away behind my back about how they would run the boat if, a rather large if they were the owner and skipper. My arrival seemed to halt that interview. So I can only think it was because things were being said behind my back, which those concerned couldn't say to my face, or didn't feel they wanted to. Well, I was sufficiently hurt by that to be unable to face some of you for several days, as you might have noticed. And during that time, I was pleased to be able to say that a number of people rallied round, got the boat ready for sea. We're now into day 5 of the last leg. It seems to me that some people haven't had a wash. There are some pretty nasty smells coming from various parts of the boat because some lockers and cupboards haven't been cleaned. The floors haven't been swept once since we left, neither have the heads been cleaned. And from what I understand, certain people are getting set to scuttle off the boat when we arrive at Portsmouth, leaving it in a rather worse condition than they found it. Well, I'm the skipper and the owner of this fine yacht which has brought you all safely this far around the world. It's my food you've eaten, my drink you've drunk, my clothing you've worn for these past 6 months. Not one of you has contributed 1 penny towards the voyage. And it's in the shadow of my reputation, I would remind you, that some of your heads have now grown to the point where you wonder which poor sucker of an owner to freeload off next on the Atlantic Triangle or the Parmelia race or whatever else. If some of you gentlemen seek to break your agreement with me and get off the boat at Portsmouth, then quite clearly my interest is to shape a course directly to Ardmore to undo the damage you have done me by breaking your agreement with me. So, I'd like to ask you what your intentions are, whether you intend to honor the agreement and sail back with me from Portsmouth to Ardmore and work at Ardmore this summer. Tony? Yeah? Steve?
Yes, can I just say something else?
Yes, well, yes, all means.
I hope we're not going to we've been sort of pretty friendly and that all together up to now. It's not going to be a sort of new role of do this and do that, is it?
No, that's all I need to say. I had hoped that we would set off and I wouldn't need to say anything
like
at all. No, I never felt I needed to, but I unfortunately feel I do need to now. It's what you'd call an air clearing statement, which I hope won't need to be said again. Peter?
Yes, I'll be going.
Dick?
In Rio, John, you said to me that between you and me, if I didn't go back to Ardmore, you wouldn't be particularly worried. And I was thinking about it, and you were thinking about it. Yeah. Well, I don't think it's really the time now, 5 days out, to say whether I'll come back or not. So if you remember, you said you were quite happy to take me on the last leg, whether I came back to Ardmore or not.
Yeah.
And that's right.
So that's a rather doubtful one. JC?
I don't want to sail up to Ardmore on the boat. I need the 2 weeks at home. And my intention after that was certainly to come up for, shall we say, the first month and see how things go, after which I'll have to make a decision.
So that's pretty well no.
Well, to get you on the way up to school and see... No, it isn't.
Well, I mean, that's what I would call that no, you're not going to carry out the agreement.
Okay. No, if that's all you said.
Well, as I said, you'll appreciate I must make up my mind on the basis of that as to what I must do in my own interest.
You would say it's a film that's split the crew. I don't think I'd let you interview me. I thought it was going to cause even more trouble than there is at the moment.
There's no trouble.
There isn't any trouble, just say whatever you like.
There's a lot of friction between you and me. If I thought that was going to be...
I think there always perhaps would have been, Dick. You didn't know till you set out whether there would be or whether there wouldn't be.
The friction between us on the first leg was minimal. On the second leg was building up, and on the third leg was pretty furious. Till the point where you fired me on the third leg.
That's not unsurprising in a period of 6 or 7 months stuck on a boat.
Oh, so what I'm saying, the film's got really nothing to do with that. It doesn't worry me at all. I don't think it's added fat to the fire, as you say.
Don't you think that some people see it as a means of reply to your book, which perhaps they think...
I think you just got into it, you don't know what's in it.
Yeah, but isn't that natural? Do you think it's a sort of means of reply, or a...
I mean, what have you got to fear in the book? You've recourse to libel laws and...
nothing at all.
You know,
it's
as I've said, actually live on the film in Rio, I don't think it would be possible to get 12 better people to go on a boat trip of this kind. You know, and that's it. If we changed it again, you wouldn't get 12 better people.
Yes, I know what she's getting at, though. It's a sort of feeling, oh, God, what are they writing about?
We don't really...
It's a pity that there isn't a bit more trust between us.
It is an added aggravation, but to go on the trip with me, I have to have this book to the publishers by mid-May, which instead of going home and writing it for 3 months at home, as I've always done in the past, in the winter, I've actually got to write this on the way now, which is difficult.
Is that you spend your time writing the book rather than sailing the boat?
Which is, unfortunately, part of the price of having come on my boat. If you'd gone on another boat, you would have...
It's not necessarily criticism, because I don't know what you're writing in your book, but it's a way of stating our own view, if you like. Yeah. People who go on film have got, I suppose it's a bit of power over you that we've got we wouldn't have if we didn't have the film.
It could be that the reason we haven't had any punch-ups is because it's actually been diverted onto our feelings on the film. And it might be that in the end the film was quite a good thing. Personally speaking, I found it terribly hard. I can understand, having made the film, frankly, how Sir Francis Drake executed his best friend when he made a similar voyage. Which I couldn't understand before, but I certainly can now.
Yeah.
In the ice again, so just, hang on.
This is it, Northern Hemisphere.
Are we there?
We're there. That's it. That was the equator. Oh, there it is, look. Here it goes, you missed it. Sorry, no, down there. Down there, look, the red line.
Yes, we have it. Back there or here, it's cooler here.
Time that I fall in love.
Why not?
I've got 2 for them.
I've got 1 for you.
Marlapine sire, oh, mist rolling in from the sea.
Well, I can't see it.
My desire is always to be
What
here.
should the toast be?
To the Marlapine time.
The women of Auckland, the women I've known.
It's to the southern hemisphere. It's going rapidly behind us.
Yep.
May it stay where it is.
And if we get back with the boat in the conditions she's now in, I would look back on it as a great success. I have not always been happy on it, but then I've never been happy on any of the other things. During certain parts of it, you say, oh, it's going to be a very difficult trip, and everybody says, oh, yes, I know it's going to be tough, I can take it, you know. But difficulty is difficulty, and it means personal unhappiness and worry and all that. That's part of it, and at the end, the harder it's been, the better the feeling at the end of it, I think. And I think it's been a very rewarding period of time. for me. Personally, I think I've learnt a lot about people and the ways of looking after people and handling them. And I still think, for example, the great pity was that Bob left in Auckland. If we could have said, oh, well, Bob, you know, certainly take your point, but everybody's under a lot of strain now, let's just wait till we get to Auckland and, you know, have a few days ashore and then just try and talk it over. I think that would have been, we could have got round that all right. And it's always the last few days where the great pressures come on. We're nearly there, no, we'll be calmed or whatever, and, you know, you fly off the handle. And things are said which you can't really withdraw from.
I think that aspect's come over to me a lot more than I really thought it would. I didn't think I'd find any difficulty in getting on with anybody for 6 months, but I did, and other people obviously did as well. Not just on our boat, on other boats.
Yeah, I don't think difficulties are anything special to this boat at all. People have been thrown off other boats because of personality clashes, you know, and it's happened on here as well. So it's just things that would seem petty, and, you know, if we say them, perhaps, you know, it will come out on the film, they'll look so petty from a distance that tend to build up because there's no escape from the pressure.
Particularly in this sort of situation, where there's no wind and not much we can do about it, and the other boats are disappearing into the distance. It's obviously going to cause some kind of build-up inside people.
We've been away an awful long time now. Do you think there's still going to be girlfriends waiting when you get back, or...?
You're asking the wrong two people. I started off having just sort of packed up with one, and Colin...
Well, mine won't be. I was engaged when I left, and when I get back, I won't have anything in that line anyway.
You got a telegram in Auckland, didn't you?
Yeah, I got a telegram in Auckland to say it was all off, and she'd gone away with somebody else. So in a way, that's rather a sad part of the race, as far as I'm concerned.
I suppose
it may have been a good thing.
It's a sort of test.
In that it's a sort of test, I suppose. But
yeah.
On the other hand, I think when I get back, I'll be thinking, well, if I hadn't gone on the race, I would have been married now, which, well, at the time, I was thinking would be quite nice. However, I still don't regret going on the race because of that. So.
Only 5 with your breakfast.
Well, I've had one already. Maybe,
Millions of people have their national newspaper this morning because of industrial trouble involving distribution workers and maintenance engineers. More than a dozen wholesalers in London stopped work over a dispute about collecting and distributing late editions. The other dispute involving the engineers has meant that there's no Times for the second morning, and The Guardian hasn't been printed in London, although Manchester editions have appeared. Representatives of the engineers will be meeting the Newspaper Publishers Association this morning. Off the Brittany coast, experts have opened hatches on the wrecked supertanker Amoco Cadiz so that the last of the oil can be discharged into the sea. If the weather calms down today, divers will use explosives to blow open a tank. In the port of Brest, thousands of people demonstrated over the oil spill last night, and riot police used tear gas to disperse the crowds, but there were no arrests. 3 British soldiers stationed in West Germany have been killed by an avalanche which buried the vehicle in which they were travelling through the Swiss Alps. 2 other men were dug out alive from the snow, and a 6th man is still missing. The men were members of a ski team taking part in an army exercise. The Japanese government had postponed the official opening of Tokyo's new international airport after the violence of the weekend in which equipment in the control tower was smashed by protesting students. Demonstrations have already delayed the airport project for 6 years. Finally, the weather. It'll be a windy day with showers or longer outbreaks of rain in all areas, but also a few sunny intervals. Showers may become heavy in places with hail and thunder. Next news on Radio 2 at 10 o'clock.
If you did the trip again Tony, can you think of any improvements you could make?
Well, crew-wise, I think the main problem may not be a vast problem, but one problem that there isn't, I think, on this boat is that people's aims have been different from the start, or the aim that they intend the trip to be during the trip has changed. Some people want to make films, and that can be very important to them. Some people want to write books. Some people want to win the race. And when anything gets in the way of that, I think things tend to go wrong.
What, if any, were the disappointments for you on the trip?
Bit of sitting here in the middle of a high, not getting anywhere, basically.
And that's all?
Just not the boat not going fast enough. And us perhaps getting bad luck, or perhaps not going fast enough, or whatever it is, but being at the back of the fleet where we are, it's a major disappointment. Otherwise, very few.
What were they for you, Peter?
I go along with Tony. Probably the biggest disappointment of the whole trip for me has been the last 2 days seeing boats with luck as well as wind sail through the high and get home and leave us to come in tail end of the fleet, when even to have come back to England 12th or something like that with a couple of other boats behind us would have been nice. Now we come home, the excitement's all over, Easter's over, the crowds have gone home, and we sail into Vernon, and we'd be lucky if there's a watchman to see us come in, probably.
Roger Deacon, Tony Delamore.
Tony Delamore, you're popular all at once. Steve's got a few friends in the world there.
Three cheers for the shore party! Hip hip! Hip hip!
The knob came off the steering gear, my God. I know that, but I can't get there. The knob has come off in my hand. The knob has got...
Yeah, we're doing our best.
See you.
And you.
Well done. That's Roger behind that infernal lens, is it? Yeah. Hello, Cole. Lovely to see you. Well done. I like you. Looking fit. I look better. Cleaner. Kept it on for a bit.
Hi, how you doing, Jan? All right? Here we go! Roger!
Enough of that. Neither.
You're neither. And I'll tell you this, the tax inspector's been on. You better get yourself on flight tomorrow. Get back to Walham Park.
Does he suggest I leave
until the 6th of April.
6th of April? Yes.
Give me a ring. And, well, before that, I find we doing one.
Yeah, I like to.
We might be in Saturday night, White Hart.
See you, Tony.
See you. Oh, yeah. Where are you going?
I'm going home.
You're going home? You coming out to Scotland?
Yeah. We're not starting up.
No, you're not starting up.
We'll see you in Ardmore.
You are seeing Ardmore.
Okay. Well, good, sir.
Not 29 weeks Saturday.
Don't think so. No.
See you, Rog. Come on, take your hand off it. Come on. No feeling.
See you, Tony. Bye-bye, mate.
I just did.